Hey everybody, it's Rachel and it's Thursday. I know I've not been on here for a T-Hawks 2 cents in a hot minute, but I did have a fellow metalsmith come into my shop and they were asking how do you pull a stone once it's already been set. And so I've actually made my own, I don't know if it's called a stone puller or whatever you would call it, like something to unset a bezel that makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to show you guys how I made that tool, and then I set this stone just roughly on a piece of metal so I can show you how the tool works. Basically what I do is I go to garage sales and I find these little screwdrivers. For me, the smaller ones work better. They seem to be a little bit more ergonomical, so I like to use these small ones. And this is the tool that I've already made, and then I have this other one that's just a regular screwdriver that I will go ahead and show you guys how I go about filing this tool down to make it like this. But first I'll flip the camera and I'll show you what this tool looks like. This edge has been curved. I've flattened this edge but curved it at the top. And then this edge here, as you can see, I've left it kind of like more at a straight angle, but at the very top, I've taken and I've beveled this little top edge to where it's got like a sharp point. So that's what the tool will end up looking like. And I'll take you through the quick steps on how to do this real quick. So to make this tool, you're really only going to need a couple of different things for your flex shaft. The first thing I'm going to be using is the coarse sandpaper disc to kind of take some of that meat off of the edges. Of course, you're going to need your screwdriver, you're going to need a fine sandpaper disc, and then you're just going to need some polishing tools to make sure that all your edges are nice and smooth. And that way nothing gets stuck when you go to pull the stone. There's nothing to catch on the piece. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round out this edge and kind of bevel it this way. Actually, I might do this edge. This one looks a little better. So this is my coarse sandpaper disc. Okay, so I pretty much have that rounded out the way that I want to. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel just the very top edge of this. So I did that at about a 45-degree angle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to round out the top edges here and make this tool, instead of it being flat and square, I'm going to make the edges of the tool a little bit more round. Very quick, very gentle. It really doesn't take that much time at all. And then I'm going to go in with my fine sandpaper disc to clean up some of these edges. And then I'm going to clean up that beveled edge. And then I'll clean up the rounded edge. And now I'm going to go through that same process one more time with my polishing tool, just to make sure everything is really smooth. And now your tool is ready to use, and I'll show you how you go about using this. You basically can go around and you can unzip quote unquote the stone. And this way, I've just found this specific tool, if you make it like this, it allows you to open up the bezel without hurting your stone, but then it's not marring up the bezel either. So you're actually able to like reuse the bezel if you want to. So if you needed to like resize a ring or you needed to do something like that, you can see how that bezel's opening up on the edge right there. Also, if you're doing this on like a ring, the best thing would be to get some jet ballistic, get that heated up, put it around the ring shank, and then you can put the ring in your vise so you're actually able to hold the ring with another tool, and it leaves both hands free to push the bezel out. So now you can see this bezel is opened all the way up around the stone. So once you have this mostly peeled up, what I like to do is I actually like to go back in here, and when I can hold it flat and hold it at an angle and just push this bezel completely outward. Like I said, having something like an actual project in the vise makes this a little bit easier to hold on to, but when you have to hold on to the piece and to your tool and you have to push out, it makes it a little bit more tricky. Okay, so now there's another one I could probably go a little further without here. So once you have your bezel opened up, the hard part is actually getting the stone out. Sometimes I can go to my dentist and they'll let me look through their old tools and things like this. You can kind of put it on the side and try to pop it up. But if you've opened the bezel up properly, a lot of times what you can do is you can tap it on your table upside down and the stone comes out. And there's no nicks and cuts on the stone. It's still, you can reuse it. You can put it in another project. You can size a ring up or down. And this just helps you unset the stone. And this is a tool you can literally make for pennies. I know that I think you can maybe buy these tools. I don't know, but I found by curving the one edge and just beveling the edge, it gives you a really nice way to get in between the stone and the bezel. And then it gives you enough leverage to pull that bezel up the way that you need to. So if you've ever wanted to pull a bezel and you don't know quite how, or you don't have the right tool, all you need to do is, like when you're out and about, flea markets, garage sales, any place where you can see little tiny tools. This thing is old, it's made in the USA. All it had was a flathead screwdriver on it, and I just took and I modified it with a couple sandpaper discs and a polishing disc, and then voila, you can take and you can open up your bezels and pull your stones. So if there are any other tips or tricks like this, or if there's any tools that you're wondering, like how can I make this, or I'm struggling with this, definitely DM me, let me know. I'll do a video on it and try to get you as much information as possible. Until the next T-Hawks 2 cents, I hope that you guys all have a great week, and I will see you soon.